Love is our true divine nature, and our heart serves as the intersection of the spiritual and physical, connecting our soul with our body as the conduit for anchoring our divinity onto the earth plane. Embodying our divinity is the key to our ascension and to manifesting our highest destiny in this life. The teachings of the heart are alchemy. Join spiritual mentor and channel Jennifer Spohr each week on a sacred journey to lift the veil to remembering your divinity and meet other beautiful souls who are living the path of the awakened heart. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. I'm really excited and thrilled to welcome as a guest to the show today my friend, Katherine Wehler. She is an activation and ascension guide, a conscious business coach, and host of the Soul Rediscovery podcast. Katherine is committed to guiding new paradigm leaders in creating and truly anchoring in real-time heaven on earth. She uses her 20 plus years as an astrologer, human design skills, and access to the Akashic Records to help her high caliber clients create a lasting impact and legacy of love, majorly increase client attraction and money manifestation, and overall build a life based off love, joy, freedom, and abundance. All the things. I love that. Born, I added in that part.
We're 360 over here.
Yeah. Born with soul blueprints focused on helping humanity shift into the highest timeline possible, Katherine is deeply passionate about business being not just another career, but an important platform for global transformation and ascended consciousness. My absolute pleasure to welcome you. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, friend. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here. And yes, you are all the things, just as it says in your bio. And I can't wait to dive in and share all the goodies with everybody. Let's see. First, I would love for you to share with us. There are several iterations that I believe that we move through in our journey, right? Like several catalysts or awakenings or however you want to refer to them. Which part of your journey has been the most catalyzing for you to bring you where you are today?
Oh, Lordy. Honestly, that is such a hard question to ask because everything, like it's such a hard question to answer because everything has been kind of stacked one on top of the other. I've channeled my whole life. I started studying astrology around the age of 7 because I had a crush on a boy. And then later on in life, we actually went through a trauma at my college where I was studying acting. And so that took my life down a completely different direction, which is where I met my twin flame. And then through that relationship, I started to really explore kind of more of my gifts in a conscious way and like really heal myself. And then that led to building a business. And, I was working at Anthropology as a stylist, and everyone was asking, can I pay you for this? Like, can we do sessions? And then the pandemic hit, and I was able to take my business full time during that time, which I was so grateful for because so many people were asking me what's going on because I had predicted it even, every astrologer had, right? And many channels. And so then from there, like things just grew and grew and grew. And that's where I find myself today in this new phase of my business where, in a lot of ways, and even just life, because I'm a 6th line in human design. So in a lot of ways, taking all of this experience and taking all of these different iterations of me and how they've compounded on top of each other, but also kind of starting over in a new way and kind of rediscovering myself, in this rooftop phase. So yeah, that would be like my short answer.
Yeah, I love that though, because you illustrate so well how, like every experience and every chapter is interconnected. And as a fellow 6th line in human design, I totally relate. to
Right?
what
You
you're
look at all
saying.
those different versions of yourself, like, oh my God, like she was so different than her, but it's you at your core, right? You're just trying all these different things. But looking back, I think that's been one of the biggest blessings of going through my Saturn return now is just time, seeing the value and the wisdom that comes with being able to see the full picture because we're in moment to moment, in the present, right, in our human daily lives. But then when we do that reflection, we can see, oh man, like that was leading up to this, and that was leading up to this. And, it's really beautiful because then you start to see your life kind of more like a movie where there is a plot line and there is a rhyme and a reason for things happening that at the time you don't know why it's happening, but you just kind of have to trust every single little stage.
Yeah, so true. Absolutely. I mean, trusting, like that's the key word, right? Because I mean, it's not just cliche, like you hear a lot of talk about trust, but it's so true. It's like I feel like our biggest opportunities, our opportunity to experience the most expansion comes from our willingness to lean in, to our path, especially when things are
Yeah.
feeling super unclear, which I feel like a lot of us are experiencing that now,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Moving into higher
Oh
time.
yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
which is a great,
That is what 2024 is for.
yes, which is a great segue actually into the next topic I wanted to touch on with you, which is
Yeah.
really speaking to some of the energies for this year, because I've personally, worked with you and you are super in tune. So if you're feeling guided, I'd love for you to share with us what are some of the most important points that you want to touch on and that are intuitively coming forward.
I mean, the biggest thing for 2024 is it's a year of dreams coming true. And I cannot stress that enough. And I think even that is easier said than felt because I think that this is a year where a lot of seeds are being planted for years to come, right? So I think this is a year that we're going to look back on and go, that's the year that it all started, or that's the year that I made that huge switch, right? And it's kind of similar to 2020, or I know a lot of people felt this about like 2016, right? But there's just a lot to this year where it's these new paradigm shifts, right? Again, we're just living in such an interesting life, even astrologically, because and even just an interesting time, because I've been studying astrology for over 20 years and tracking moon cycles and everything. And it's really just been in recent years that we go through new paradigm shift after new paradigm shift after new paradigm shift. And we actually have one coming up on your birthday. So, we have the Jupiter Uranus conjunction, right? So I think like that's the really interesting thing is, 2024 is this year of really radically knowing ourselves. That Aries North Node, really radically knowing ourselves and being able to stand in our truest authenticity and heal those places where we have felt unable to express that. And at the same time, we have Pluto, which went into Aquarius at the top of the year. So we're discovering our most fun and favorite timelines, not just even highest. Like when I say highest, I mean your most fun and favorite,
Yeah.
right? And we're breaching this new realm where it's not just spirituality, but it's consciousness. So we're even manifesting differently. So I think if I could wrap up 2024 in like a little bow, in a little nutshell, especially because it's my natal astrology. So, everybody gets to experience what it's like to be me every single day. It really is like this dreams coming true, sparkle, sort of energy. And also all of the things that sort of swirls around that, right? Having to surrender to that larger God consciousness within us and not just, like what that quote unquote lower ego wants, right? But really being able to move with where life is moving you instead of resisting that tide. So that's how I would summarize it in a nutshell.
I feel like the energies are so strong that it's like the train has left the station.
Yeah. We're moving, we're grooving. Honestly, it's not even a train. Like we're on a rocket ship now.
Right?
Like, I think that's what's kind of been jarring to everyone is I've been saying, with the Pluto and Capricorn to Pluto and Aquarius shift, I was like, listen, we were in alchemy school. We were in heal this thing or work on that thing and build it and it'll come. And now we're in improv school. And that is a completely different classroom. Alchemy school, it was measured, it was precise, it was, it took a long time. And improv school is literally every single day is going to be a little bit different. Every single day is going to present new opportunities. And you better be really fucking present to be able to claim those opportunities when you see them, and so in the moment that you're not missing the good stuff.
I love that you brought up the importance of being present. I mean, of course, we've talked about that a trillion times, right? But that really is where it is. And I just feel it like, even though each of us has free will, the energies are such that we're literally being almost just kind of like put in our place.
Yeah, it's so funny because it's like this is such a funny year. And like I said, it's my astrology. Everybody who's like, oh my God, I'm so confused. I don't know. Da, da, da. I'm like, welcome to my life always. But it's equal parts, right? That Aries of this is what I desire. This is what I want. This is who I am, right? Balanced with that Libra South node of interdependence of I can't just do it alone, but I also can't do it exactly in the way that you're doing it kind of deal, right? We have to work together and find that shape in the form of the puzzle piece that is Pluto and Aquarius. At the same time, Saturn is in Pisces. So it's also asking us, yes, you have free will, and yes, you get to nail down what do I want, what do I need, what do I desire, but also only if it's for the good of everybody else. So we're going to shift you, like we're going to shift cities, relationships, jobs, whatever, in order to put you exactly where you need to be for the good of humanity, right? And to receive all of those blessings. And then we also have Jupiter in Taurus, and that's reminding us, hey, connect to your body, connect to the power of being human, connect to again, the opportunities that are presenting themselves within your tangible physical reality. So it's a big year in terms of just these like major themes that are kind of seemingly contradictory, but are, attempting to complement each other basically. And when they do, like I said, it's my natal astrology. So like when they do, it's pure magic, right? When they come together at that beautiful pinnacle point, it's like, sparkles everywhere. But it's up to us to kind of contemplate things, look at things, be present, surrender, know what you want, hold that timeline, but hold it loosely in order to navigate all of this.
Yeah, be connected without being attached.
Exactly.
Yes. I love the work you do because there are so many that are already doing this or being called to birth new creations, to share their gifts with the world, to aid the collective, the highest good of all in moving into a higher frequency way of living and being. And so you specialize in that, essentially supporting those people who are utilizing their business as the vehicle with which to do that. So I'd love for you to share about, what is your process, your magical process of
Oh my
supporting your
gosh.
clients to achieve to achieve what they desire.
Oh my gosh. Again, another loaded question.
You can just
Honestly,
share a snippet even of what's coming forward. That's fine too.
Yeah, honestly, these days it's helping my clients really tap into their life force energy. You
Mm.
know, we were talking about this the last time you and I just had a little catch-up call. But something that I do is kind of unconventional in my coaching is like I'll have my clients sing. You know, I'm a professionally trained
Yes.
singer and yeah, an actor and and I'll have my clients sing and obviously we do different things too, but I think that that's such a great example of, one thing I'm seeing across the board with my clients right now is I'm seeing a lot of floating heads. And I really would love for people to be connected to their bodies because it's in that place of creative life force energy that we're actually building this new paradigm, And I think like that is kind of the easy answer to the rest of what I was just talking about because truly what I help with is all of those components that I just listed before, but it
Mhm.
really all culminates in you tapping into your own life force energy, life-giving energy, and just sharing that with the world. I call it like the cartwheel that, the first time you learn how to cartwheel, you're so excited to share it with, your mom or your dad and you don't even know that they're going to clap. Like you're just excited to share the cartwheel. So that's another thing about 2024. And especially when it comes to the work that I'm doing with my clients, is whether it is business or dating and relationships or manifesting anything, it really comes down to okay, where does your own life force energy live? Because that's ultimately what is going to point you in the direction of that most fun and favorite timeline, right? And being able again to surrender to the how of all the ways that that comes around. But I especially love to use people's astrology for honing in on okay, what is your own unique authenticity? What life phase are you in? What opportunities are coming forward your way so that again, we don't lose sight of that life force energy. We don't lose sight of that creational energy that lives in all of us.
Are there any universal or common practices that you could share that someone could apply in their own life on a day-to-day basis to amplify their life force energy?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, singing is a huge one, singing and dancing, self-pleasure, sex,
Mhm.
honestly, playing with children, like spending time with people who make you laugh and light you up. I think that there's a lightness and a levity that is being asked for with this like Pluto and Aquarius season, and the opposite being Leo, and again, Leo being that life force energy. I think just anything that pulls out that creativity within you, anything that makes you feel like that mad genius creative that you actually are, because it truly is, not to monetize it, but it truly is our greatest currency in the new paradigm is how creative we are and how creative we can be. And I think even that's what I love most about business is we just get to be so creative within our businesses. Like I had a friend who is an old acting friend, and she was like, "Oh, that's a shame that you're no longer performing as often." She's like, "When do you get to let out your creativity?" And I said, "Every single day in my business. That's all my business is creativity." So I think for all of us, there's all these different ways that we can find joy or expression in our day. And it can even be little things like, sipping your cup of coffee and just feeling that glow within your heart. All of that stuff really connects you to that place of life force energy.
Yeah, and all of that really goes back to being intentional about creating space, I think.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
because it's really easy to, you know, fall into that societal trap of our like distraction culture that we're, still very, very much surrounded in. It really,
Uh,
I think being grounded is super important too as a regular practice to, you know, fortify your foundation, right? To be consistent in creating the space for all of what you're sharing.
yep. And I think like getting your whole body into it, that's just what I see for so many people is they're just floating heads. And I really want to encourage everyone to engage their entire body in their way of living, because again, that's when we really connect to ourselves. That's when we connect to our fullest sense of self.
Yeah. In regard to engaging your whole body, is there anything else that's coming forward that you want to add that would help someone?
Um, I think everyone is going to be really individual with what is going to feel good, but I
Mm-hmm.
think just I think that what it is for me is working with a lot of people who are in business. You can sit all day long and you can stare at your screen and you can be like, oh my God, like what's my ROI? Or I need to do this or I need to do that, and trying to find these more like logical business solutions. And then, I tell my client, okay, like those things aren't working like they normally do. So go for a walk or go to a dance class or go take a cooking class or whatever, right? Whatever their astrology or human design points to. And they come back and they're like, oh my God, I had the most brilliant idea for my business. And I just know that this is going to be a winner. And I don't even need to hire that messaging coach because I know exactly what I want to say. And I'm like, see, that's the thing. We're making it so much more complicated than it has to be. Like, we each have our own unique wealth codes, our own unique ways that we unlock our life force energy, that's going to look different than Susie Q down the street. So, I think like that would be my biggest thing for people is, again, like, the way intuitively, but I think we've gotten so locked into one way of being. And
Yeah.
then, especially if we're on our devices or we're only talking to a small group of people, that's all we see. So we have to kind of break out of that mold and do something crazy, do something a little wild, moves the plot along and do something different instead of just the same old, same old.
Yeah. Speaking of, living from that intuitive space, this show, and as you know, a lot of the work that I do is all about working with people to live unapologetically from that space, to live from the inside out. What would be, I guess I want to ask first, what does living from the heart, living from an awakened heart mean to you?
I think just being me. I think being unapologetically unafraid to just be me and again in all of my multidimensionalities, knowing that again, every single phase, every single moment, I am just right, just as I am. You are just right, just as you are. And, again, all we really have is this present moment. So listening to that heart and listening to what it wants now. It might not be what you want 5, 10 years from now, but kind of like what I started with, those things wouldn't have happened
Yeah.
without the other building blocks. So, we try so hard to have these 5, 10 year plans, whatever, but especially in this day and age, my encouragement to people is literally exactly that. Tap into your heart, right? Tap into where it's leading you, because every single day it has those little murmurs. Like, that literally was my Akashic message today, and I cracked up knowing I was coming on this podcast. But it was literally, listen to the little murmurs in your heart, they can't steer you wrong. And it's like,
Oh,
yeah, exactly what it is.
I love that so much. I
I
love
know.
how spirit just knows. God just knows, right? It's like, oh, you're going to be on Jennifer's podcast today. Let's plant this little seed.
Literally. Literally. And I wrote that before checking my calendar and like seeing I was going to be here today. So kind of funny.
I love that so much, but it feels like, being present and the importance of being present has been a theme throughout our conversation because it keeps popping up. And in order to pick up on those fun synchronicities, on that magic, we need to be present, right? To notice it, not stuck in the past or too worried about the future and what hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it too is very subtle also, and I think with a lot of like chatter out in the world, um, that conditioning can be really heavy. So, it's like you were saying earlier, we have to slow down, but even if we're living like busier lives or we're moving from one thing to the next, even from a fun place, right? It's like it's just remaining connected to us, because it's truly my belief that like every single one of us is created and we choose to come down here exactly the way we're meant to be in this life. Even in astrology, no one else has your birth chart, and even you won't have your birth chart in other lifetimes. It's just this lifetime. Like you just get to be Jennifer in this lifetime. I just get to be Catherine in this lifetime. And through each phase of the lifetime, even, where you get to try on different things and know different people and, do a different career or whatever. And I think that there is something so beautiful, so special, and so moving to that, that again, it just implores us like, hey, like really be present, really be here, really, really, soak in the here and now, because it's already gone, like it
Yes.
already, it's
Yeah,
gone this we say it's here.
it's
So that's
it's
all we
true.
can do.
There will never be another moment like the moment in this now.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's something to be grateful for too.
I think so too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that we get to have all of this buffet of experiences. And what you said
That's my favorite
about,
part about life.
yes,
Yeah. I mean, that's why my soul keeps choosing Earth. I love to be a human. I love my human family. I choose them lifetime after lifetime. Like there's something about being human that just hits different. And I really do think it is because of that connection to our hearts, because of that connection to the way that time even functions and moves on Earth. There's something that is just so moving about the way that we live our lives in these little mundane moments, and even those big moments of like having a wedding or having a baby or whatever. But
yeah.
again, it's like the snapshot in time. And that's what I've just my entire life loved about being a human.
The interconnectedness of everything fascinates me. It never ceases to fascinate me.
Yeah,
So,
same.
uh, so what else are you feeling guided to bring forward in this now moment?
Um, Honestly, I feel like I said most of it. I mean, obviously, I am super passionate about using astrology and human design as tools for all of this. Um, I think that would just be the other thing that I haven't mentioned nearly as much is, I am also a channel as well. So I know the value of all of those. And I will say, like, there is a greater depth that you can explore and you can experience when you use these contemplation tools, these evolutionary tools. Because again, I think it just helps you be in that present moment so much more, knowing what phase you're going through. Or, every single client I've ever worked with, no one has ever told me, no, that doesn't resonate. All I ever get is, oh my God, that resonates so much. How do you know my life? And I don't mean that as like a parlor trick, right? Like a magic trick of like, oh, look what I can do, right? But just more so of like, these tools are so fantastic for opening up conversation. And so, even as somebody who has channeled her entire life and has seen timelines and been psychic and an oracle and all these things, I'm so grateful that I discovered astrology when I was very young, and I'm so grateful I discovered human design to kind of fill in some gaps that astrology left. After gosh, like almost 20 years of studying astrology, I discovered human design as well. So I think like if you have those tools at your disposal, use them, work with someone. It doesn't have to be me, but work with someone who knows those languages and can help you through that, because there are times in my life where even recently I thought, oh my God, I would be losing my goddamn mind if I didn't know the astrology right now. Like, thank God I know my natal astrology and I know my transit astrology. Otherwise, I would think I was having like a lobotomy. I would think I was becoming a completely different person, or I would think, like, oh my God, we used to love this and now we don't, and so I think like it's really helpful, at least for me, to have sort of a rhyme and a reason. And I always tell people that I do astrology not because it connects me to the stars, because obviously it does, but because it connects me down to earth. like,
Yes.
it's more of a connection point to our human existence, um, even more so than the spiritual existence.
Yeah.
It's a geocentric model.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I would say.
Absolutely. Our connection to the stars is important. However, what is still not talked about or taught about nearly enough is the embodiment piece, right? It's like the
Yeah.
importance of our connection to the earth as well. And
Yeah.
Ascension is really all about balance. It's like bringing all of those aspects of you into balance and harmony, connected with each other.
100%. And especially on Earth, like ascension is descension, right? So we're not going to do like a beam me up, Scotty, take me somewhere else kind of deal. Like, we're here as humans living our human lives for a reason,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we
Yep.
get to explore a buffet of things on earth. We get to anchor that heaven down on earth. We get to be these alchemists on earth, and I think that that is incredibly powerful. And I feel like that's the piece that if I was queen of the world, I would have like, billboards everywhere, right? About the importance of heaven on earth, bringing it down to earth for the people.
Yes. I mean, I feel like if you can master creation here, you can do it anywhere.
Yep.
What a pleasure to have you today. It's always a treat and a joy connecting with you. Um, if someone wants to connect with you further, where is the best place for them to go?
Yeah, so it's really easy to find me because I'm the only person in the world with my name, but it's Katherine Wehler, Wehler. I'm on Facebook as Katherine Christine Wehler. I'm on Instagram as Katherine_Wehler, and TikTok as well. And my website is also katherinewehler.com. So very easy to remember. But I would love to connect with any of your listeners that are resonating with this. I just love like building community and connecting with like-minded souls. So that would be amazing. And if you do connect with me on my website specifically, then you can get monthly astrology breakdowns for everybody, as well as a new paradigm activation meditation, all for free.
Yes. Katherine is amazing. I can attest. Sign up for her
Thank
newsletter, connect
you.
with her, do all the things.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so cute. I've had like such an influx of, and I mean, again, I know why, because it's my astrology right now, but I've had such an influx of people like tagging me in things and, being like, can I write you a testimonial out of the blue? And it really means the world to me when high level leaders such as yourself say that. because it's like, yeah, I'm here doing what I'm here to do.
You're doing the thing, and you are amazing at it. Yes, I highly recommend anyone listening connect with you, and we will be sure to include the links that you described and provided in the show notes as well for everyone to have easy access. Thank you again for being on my show today and for just being in my sphere.
Yes.
Thank you for listening to Path of the Awakened Heart. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts or pathoftheawakenedheart.com so you never miss an episode. To learn more about living with an awakened heart and navigating your ascension journey, visit me at jenniferspore.com.